Right, you lot. It's been a little while because life's been a bit hectic. But should we have a chat about Villa? Yes, so you can tell the videos have got a little bit smaller in terms of their length and how often I'm posting them. Stuff has been going on and life always manages to get in the way of stuff like that, doesn't it? But it's important stuff that I've had to deal with. And we're back, in a sense, as you can tell, in the new and improved kitchen/living room space. Because of setting up for the baby, etc, etc. More on that is going to be coming out on my new series, which is not as much football related. That should be coming out hopefully tomorrow or the day after, and that will probably explain a bit more about that and that going forward. But we are all here for Villa. If you are enjoying, like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Let's get into a flash Twitter poll, which I'll shove up on this side now, and that is a flash poll that I literally put up, oh god, when am I recording this? About half an hour ago. And that is pretty much what's going to happen in this game. We're previewing the Luton game, of course, in the Premier League tomorrow as this video comes out. Villa win 92%, Luton win 0%, and a draw 8%. Let's get into what I think and all that good stuff. It's Villa versus Luton before we head off into one of the hardest runs of fixtures we're going to have. What's going to happen? So as you can see on the screen next to me, this is my Aston Villa team against Luton with one or two changes that I'm sure your eyes have already been drawn to, but let me explain all of those. A little bit about Luton, Kenilworth Road. The crowd's going to be right on top of the boys. It's a small pitch, a small ground, it's tight, it's compact. And a little bit about Luton, they are a big physical side with some like proper, not nasty players in like a bad sense, in like a good way. They put themselves about. They're big, they're well drilled, they run a lot. It's going to be a tough game. I don't think anyone expects us to go to Kenilworth Road and completely bowl over Luton. That's just not what you do to Luton. You go there and they give you a good game. So getting into the team, obviously in goal, Emi Martinez, that's like an absolute dead cert. Alex Moreno keeping his place at left back. I don't think you disrupt the back line too much by chucking Luca Digne back in just yet. Pau Torres, I believe, is still going to be good and fit to play on Saturday, so hopefully we will see him as well. Alongside him, Ezri Konsa coming back from injury, thank goodness. Roll the clip.
Morning.
You miss me?
Missed you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's back. Yes, we've all missed you, Ezri. Please do not get injured by lobbing yourself and dolphin diving into a header in the post ever again. Please, in bubble wrap, sir, because we need you. I think he goes straight in and partners Pau Torres. That's the strongest centre-back partnership we can have. And someone who has actually been starting to play pretty decently in Matthew Cash sticks with his right-back role to give us a bit of an option going forward as well. Left mid, Jacob Ramsey keeps his spot, allowing John McGinn and Douglas Luiz to play those two pivot roles. I'm so impressed with how John McGinn's adapted to this. He's gone out to left mid under Unai Emery, and now he's been asked to come in and fill in and do a job whilst Kamara's injured, and boy oh boy is he doing it. And then our most electric player on the pitch, Leon Bailey, keeps his place. I think he's going to have some fun against this Luton defence, I have a feeling. Up front, obviously Ollie Watkins, who is in absolutely sensational form. To me, he is a purple patch striker. He goes through these spells where he's really, really good. So you just got to keep him firing. Obviously, he's going to be in the squad anyway. He's our only real striker option. And then I have dropped Yuri Tielemans to the bench. Nothing against him. I actually think he's been playing really, really well as of late. But as I said, Luton are a big physical team. They have a lot of height in their team. And for that reason, I think the 6'4" Morgan Rogers adds a different dimension to our team and could really help us out. And let's be honest, Luton favourites probably to go straight back down this season, despite having some good results, especially with Everton's point deduction being lessened to 6 points now. I think Morgan Rogers is at a level where a Luton Town would be a good one for him to start getting bedded in and playing in the Aston Villa system. Are there any changes that you guys would make, though, to that starting 11? Let me know down below. I completely appreciate possibly you'd bring Tielemans back in and not disturb the starting 11. Would you move Konsa to right back? Let me know down in the comments. And now let's look at how Luton have been lining up recently. So we look at Luton's last game, which may not be a true reflection of how they'll actually play in the Premier League. It was a 6-2 thumping to Manchester City in the FA Cup in the 5th round. where Haaland managed to score 5 goals. When you have that freak running against you as a defender, I don't even know what you think. So it may not be a complete and accurate representation of how they'll line up, but we'll get an idea. They started it in a 3-4-2-1 formation. Generally, managers don't tend to stray too far from their formations for these types of games. With Tim Krul in goal, Burke, Mengi and Bell making up the centre-back 3. They play more as a 5 at the back, really. Doherty and Ogbene on the left and right. Clark and Barkley, who's having a bit of a career resurgence. I always remember that fantastic spell he had for us, like the first few games of his loan during the Kazoo title race, if anyone remembers that, with Everton back in the day. Morris and Chong tucking in just behind Woodrow. Obviously, I expect players like Adebayo, or Adebayo, I can't remember how you pronounce his name, the striker as well, to be in there, against us in the Premier League. But it's going to be relatively the same. Obviously, it was a big game against Manchester City, a chance for them to go far in a cup competition. They weren't going to completely throw it away by just playing children. So that's probably quite an accurate representation. Let's look at how Luton and Aston Villa are faring in the Premier League in terms of the table and our recent results, because we might get an idea of how we're going to play going into this game. So we look at Luton's last 5 games, and this is excluding obviously the 6-2 loss against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. And as you can see, they're a pretty sort of on and off, hot and cold team, much like Aston Villa, as you'll see in our results as well. We kick it off with an absolutely fantastic... This was actually when we lost 3-1 to Newcastle, because I was at Villa Park, and they brought the scores up at half-time, and I think they were 4-0 up at half-time, or 3-0 up, and I was like, wait, what? But they beat Brighton 4-0 at Kenilworth Road, and then they went to Newcastle and scored 4 against them as well, getting a 4-4 draw away from home. And then they just go and lose 3-1 to Sheffield United. It's so random, because they looked so good in the previous 2 games. Much like Villa, they lost 2-1 to Manchester United, and then recently lost 4-1 to a fantastic Liverpool team who, no matter who Liverpool play, they just seem to be absolutely fantastic. I can't fault them at the moment. I actually really like watching them play right now. But that is their last 5 results. As you can see, a mixture of ups and downs, and you add in the 6-2 loss as well to Manchester City. But then again, that can happen to the best of us with that team. Do you know what I mean? We switch over to Aston Villa's results. A 5-0 win against Sheffield United. The 3-1 loss against Chelsea, followed up by the 2-1 loss against United. And then the 2-1 win at Fulham, alongside the 4-2 victory at Nottingham Forest the past weekend. So as you can tell, what sticks out? I know what sticks out to me. We're 2 teams that are scoring goals. Like, we are really scoring goals. 8 goals in 2 games for Sheffield United there. Not Sheffield United, sorry. For Luton Town. And then Aston Villa scoring 5 against Sheffield, scoring 4 against Nottingham Forest. Our attack is really clicking at the moment, to be fair. And it just makes me think that there might be goals in this game. With Ezri Konsa coming back, hopefully not too many against Villa, but you can't discount it. And then we look at the table here as well, cropped to fit both of our teams in. Villa, 32 points to the good against Luton, who are down in 18th in the relegation zone, 4 points away from Premier League safety. Now Everton have got 4 points credited back onto their account, because the FA are probably thinking, oh well, we've been charging them so much, but we haven't done anything to Man City. Anyway, we are currently 5 points above Tottenham, who obviously have a game in hand against us, and the big one, obviously 8 points above Manchester United. So a win would really be good for Villa, and something that we really need. But what do I think is going to happen in this game? Like I said, let me just skirt back over here on my little wheelie chair. There's goals in this game. There is goals in this game. Villa are firing on all cylinders. Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins, Douglas Luiz, all in and amongst the goals very recently. And Luton as well have goals in them. They always seem to grab a goal. So, scoring against United, scoring against Liverpool, which isn't always an easy thing to do. Scoring 4 past Brighton and 4 past Newcastle are things that you can't look over. Obviously, their 3-1 loss to Sheffield United will probably be their biggest disappointment, a team that we dispatched 5-0 shortly before that. It's going to be a hard game. Like I say, Kenilworth Road, Luton run their socks off. The crowd is behind them every single week they play there. and the crowd is literally on top of the pitch. That's just how Kenilworth Road works, and they are a big, strong, physical team, and sometimes I feel like Villa players can be a little bit suspect of being just a tad soft. I'm sorry, Douglas Luiz, I am looking at you, because he just goes down and stops and just goes like that, even if he's just been shoulder to shoulder. And that's something that we can't afford to do against Luton Town. That being said, I do think that Villa are going to pick up a win, and I'm going to go for a big scoreline. I don't think we have a clean sheet in us against Luton, so I am going to go for Luton to score 1, but I'm going to go for Villa to go back to back, just like Luton, and score 4 goals. Ollie Watkins only going to get 1, I think. I think John McGinn is in the hunt for a goal, Tielemans is in the hunt for a goal, and Leon Bailey as well. I could swap Tielemans for Rodgers, but I'm going to stick Tielemans in there as a goal scorer. What do you think is going to happen? Like I said, guys, stuff has been going on which will be explained in my more life-based series that is coming out. But the football content should be back to regularly scheduled programming very soon. Kicking off with my review of this game on Sunday evening, and then I should have a special video up before we start thinking about European football coming back to Villa Park, or actually back to the Netherlands when we go and face Ajax. But if you are enjoying, leave a like, subscribe. We're so close to 1,500. Follow my X, which will be down in the description below. I'll see you guys soon. Up the Villa, and be nice to everyone. You know it makes sense.